Ah, Shovel Knight, 10 years it's been since you first released. About time for a look back, I'd say. Let's dig in. Shovel Knight takes place in the distant past, 2014, when indie games were still a bit rough and uncut, but made with heart. It truly was a different time. In the early days, indie games looked like this. Or like this. Or like this. All fine games, mind you, but let's just remember that things were simpler back then. Around this time came Shovel Knight, story of a brave knight on a quest to save his perpetually falling girlfriend. Shovel Knight is a good dude. He helps people out and responsibly extinguishes his campfires. Opposed to him stands the Order of No Quarter, evil knights who push people around and do a variety of terrible things to rats. Seriously, what did Nibbles do to deserve this? Luckily, he has his trusty shovel for a variety of moves, like shoveling sideways and shoveling downwards. I mean, what else is he supposed to do? Dig up? Shovel in hand, you'll roam the land, taking back what's been taken, looting gems, meeting fellow adventurers, adventurers being a euphemism for violent busybodies who will fight you to the death just for bumping into them. And you'll meet a cast of memorable characters like, Catapult Horse, Dancing Lady with Broccoli Hair, and of course, Fruitfish. That's so damn charming. And that's not easy to do. It's definitely Shovel Knight's strong suit. What's a little less strong is its gameplay sensibilities. Shovel Knight loves its NES roots, for better or for worse. In this case, the 1-2 punch of enemies that knock back and pits that kill you instantly. This gets frustrating pretty quickly. Having to replay whole sections because you got grazed at the wrong moment gets old fast. And there is a circle in hell specially reserved for whoever decided to include this in boss fights. I want to be clear. It's not that hard. This isn't a get good situation. It's just annoying. And the farther I got into the game, the more the charm and novelty wore off and the annoyance built up. Luckily, it's also pretty short, 10 hours or so, optimistically. But wait, there's more. 3 whole new campaigns, in fact. Starting with... you get to play as Plague Knight. Don't know if you would have been my first choice, but I'll roll with it. I was excited to play a whole new campaign, and then a little less excited when I realized that it was largely the original campaign with a coat of paint. At least we get more lore. At long last, we can learn about the Magicist's love interests or the Catapult Horse's other activities. Did we really need this? Were people asking for this? I mean, I'm sure there's some corner of the internet that wants to know what activities a horseman might take part in. No, maybe better not to think too much about that. Anyway, Plague Knight's pretty neat. He's got some cool new moves, some good firepower, you can nuke things quickly, but he's every bit as susceptible to getting knocked into a pit if so much as a gentle breeze blows his way. At least he gets some air control eventually. You can customize your attacks too, if you don't mind shuffling through menus in the middle of a level, which I do mind a little. It's a bit clunky. Anyway, next up is... you play as Spectre Knight now, who is trying way too hard to be cool. Look at this guy, what a poser. Like a guy in his 20s who still hangs out at his old high school. And apparently that school was the Assassin's Creed school of sticking to walls even when you don't want to. He does know how to rail grind, so he's not a total dork. This is easily the best part of his campaign, and should have been in every level of his. But they use it sparingly, so you don't have too much fun. Considering how much of Shovel Knight is inspired by older platformers, I'm surprised it took this long for them to crib stuff from Donkey Kong. Also, for some reason they decided to add mandatory tutorials for every single sub-weapon. I guess there were too many unlicensed adventurers running around with weapons, so they won't let you throw sickles without getting a certification anymore. I don't know why they felt this was necessary when we're 3 campaigns deep, but it's here. You can also get cloaks, like the cloak of not dying instantly to pits, which, oh my god, that's all I ask for. Now I can play through Propeller Knight's stage without wanting to kick something. Why is this not baseline for all characters forever? What is the point of having insta-kills in a game that has a health system? It doesn't make any... Alright, sorry. No more complaining about pits, I promise. Moving on, finally, we have... you get to play as King Knight now, who is either a child or maybe a mentally stunted adult. I mean, his signature move involves ramming his head into walls. Maybe it's taken its toll. Remember kids, all the shiny gems in the world can't fix brain damage. Anyway, this one's a little different. Like King Knight's brain, the gameplay has been shaken up a little. A good part of the campaign is playing a card game called Joustus, which hits the mark perfectly for me. It's simple enough that a player or possibly handicapped king can learn it quickly, but just hard enough that you actually have to think a little. Some of the later stages really got the noodle cooking, and I appreciate that. I get that this may not be the experience people who showed up looking for a platformer want, but at this point, I'd already played through the campaign 3 times in different variants, so this was very welcome. Granted, Joustus isn't the deepest game, it's no Magic the Gathering, but even Magic the Gathering isn't Magic the Gathering these days. We card floppers must take what we can get. Anyway, when it's all said and done, what's the point of all this? What's the takeaway here? Since they're releasing a remastered version in the near future, I guess the main question is, would I still recommend Shovel Knight today? And the answer is yes, but less enthusiastically than I might have said when I first played it years ago. I know this is a weird criticism to make of a retro game, but Shovel Knight feels a little dated now. The game just feels a little simplistic, the movement a little clunky, the mechanics a little frustrating. That's kind of unfair, I know. Shovel Knight was never trying to be the Citizen Kane of 2D platformers, just a charming little retro experience for people who grew up on old Nintendo games. People like, well, me, really. Freaking dinosaurs in their late 30s trying to recapture their childhood joy. In which case, mission mostly accomplished. Would still recommend. But for everyone else, I'm not so sure.